When I didn't know, flashbang seemed like nothing more than a briefcase-based waster, or a low resale item to take the hawker as soon as I possibly could. But when you do know, and it took like the third or fourth playthrough just for me to discover how underrated these little blue canisters really were the whole time, and to discover a whole new appreciation for them as well. These little underdog canisters are actually very mighty and potent in the right circumstances and situations. To start, did you know that these humble-looking and once again seemingly pretty worthless and powerless little lightning in a bottle can somehow take out entire flocks of crows at once? So save those few and highly valuable grenades of yours for those big mobs in this game that want to put you 6 feet under this very instant, and use instead that humble little flashbang on these harmless, but actually quite valuable wealth-bringing messengers of darkness. But here's something that you probably already did know, just taken one step further, and made even more useful and valuable. In certain more complicated crowd control situations, use the flashbang to momentarily blind and to disorient all of your enemies in the vicinity. Of course, as I just mentioned, this use for them is widely known, and is primarily what the flashbangs were designed for in the first place. But now here's that really useful and helpful next step that I promised, and one that you might have never even considered before with this blinding use of these little flashbangs. Because in some of the more touch-and-go scenarios, when after you've discharged your flash grenade, these underrated little guys can actually really help you to take out some of the more crucial enemies right away. You know, those extra nefarious and more dangerous ones, like those often sneaky douchebags with those highly damaging rocket launchers that will just immediately launch you into the afterlife if you're still pretty weak and or low on health. This should be especially helpful when you're in these types of overwhelming situations and haven't acquired some more powerful guns in this game to really help you to dispatch these extra special D-bags right on the spot or right away. And related to this whole crowd control and temporary blinding of your enemies thing is also this commonly known maneuver that you could do of melee attacking as many of them as you possibly can while they're in this temporarily blinded state, and for as long as you have that window of opportunity to do just that. So now, we have finally come to our fourth, and probably most useful, as well as most awesome and powerful ability of these underrated and underappreciated little flashbangs. And this was also one that I didn't even discover until like my third playthrough, is a super awesome and super useful ability of these little flash grenades to instantly and permanently end those nasty and disgustingly hideous exposed parasites with all those ganados, as well as those grotesquely transformed cult members too. And this can especially be such a powerful lifesaver against those transformed cult members in particular, because when they're within striking distance of you, they can instantly kill and end you with just that one powerful and vicious move of theirs. You know, the one where they bite off your lovely head? But if you can unleash a flashbang within their vicinity, and just before they get within striking distance of your head to decapitate you, the flashbang will work like an incredible miracle and decapitate their hideously transformed head instead, dissolving and disintegrating it right on the spot, and right before your very eyes, and in about half of a second too. And another obvious lovely bonus with this whole instant killing of these parasites and freakish cult members thing with the flashbangs is to not have to go through that oftentimes big hassle and anxiety-inducing struggle, or just straight up extra pain in the neck fight with those more annoying and more dangerous versions of their lower selves enemies. And this is especially true when you haven't acquired any of the game's incredible Infinity weapons yet, or even just any of its more powerful non-special weapons yet too. And not to mention this other obvious big bonus of just using this ultra-effective method with these flashbangs on those upgraded and more difficult/dangerous versions of those enemies, is to not have to burn through a lot of your precious firearm ammo, particularly within your first playthrough when you definitely don't have one of those powerful Infinity weapons that can afford you to be much more willy-nilly and a lot more careless in this game. So all in all, what an awesome miracle in a little blue canister that this little underrated flashbang quote-unquote weapon has been, and one that I wish I had known all about it so much more sooner in this horror adventure and long-running journey that is this Resident Evil 4 game that I've been on. To recap, Now, going forward, with all of this wonderful new knowledge, you should be able to save quite a bit more of that precious ammo and those more powerful grenades of yours for those more powerful enemies that are more requiring of them. And once again, particularly within that first playthrough of yours. Not to mention that extra peace of mind of knowing that you should be able to save yourself a lot more easily when you're in a tight spot in this game, from those insanely sickening and super dangerously transformed cult members too. At the end of the day, know what you now know about this little quote-unquote best-kept secret weapon of Resident Evil 4 should just really help to make life a bit easier for you, in general, in this RE4 world. And once more, especially within those first and second playthroughs when ammo is going to be a lot more scarce, and you do not yet have one of those infinite weapons that will make life in this game about 1,000,000 times easier for you. So as I said at the opening, when you didn't know like I didn't, these little blue canisters in RE4 probably seem like such a worthless space occupier of your finite briefcase. Like they did to me, at first. But now that you do know, like I know, I'm sure you have also come to appreciate and delight in them as much as I have. So knowing what we both know now, it's bombs away time of the light and blinding kind. In this all-time greatest game, happy gaming.